Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right up front that this won't be an easy video for me to make because Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. And when the news broke yesterday, I just didn't have it in me to jump on here and talk about it right away. Sometimes, regardless of the story, I need a few minutes to kind of take it in and process it. And this was definitely the case with this story. It was somewhat of a gut punch because I think very highly of Joe Biden. I think he's a really good man. I think he was a great president. And it's just a reminder of what a cruel and uncertain world that it is we're living in. And I know so many people who have dealt with this kind of thing, and I'm dealing with this kind of thing at the moment in my family. And so I wouldn't wish anything like this on my worst enemy. And I'll tell you right up front that I really don't care where you fall on the political spectrum, and I don't care what you agreed or disagreed with Joe Biden on, or how you feel about Joe Biden as a president or as a man or as a leader or whatever. But this is just my 2 cents on it, and you can take it for what it's worth. I think Joe Biden was a really good man. He was a decent man, and I think he was one of the most effective leaders of my lifetime. I think he came along at a time when America needed him more than ever, in more ways than one. I know we were heading into a dark time, and we were in a pandemic, and there was a lot of uncertainty, and we had a leader who, couldn't stick his finger in his ass with both hands, and so we had to have somebody that could come together and do something. So Joe Biden comes along, and he just rolled up his sleeves and quietly went to work. He didn't flex about it. I don't remember him ever putting his name on a flag. I don't remember him ever tweeting 24/7. I don't remember him trying to sell me a Bible or a sneaker or a mug shot or anything like that. And to tell you the truth, that part of him right there was the biggest breath of fresh air for me. That was one of those things that I was like, I'm really enjoying this quiet old man just going in there and getting to work. And he was an effective leader. He was a good president. He did accomplish a whole lot of things, more so in 4 years than a lot of them was able to do in 8. And he went about it quietly. And people like me was on here, and we were talking about that, and we were going to bat for him. But there were a lot of people in the media and a lot of people in the political world, and even on the Democratic side, that found a way to turn that all into politics and turn that all into a way that they could gain off of it. And so we saw a really good man who was an effective leader just be mocked and demonized and vilified in the media the entire time by a guy who was everything that our grandparents would have slapped us in the mouth for being. And that's one of the reasons why that I just had to sit here in this chair and call it out every day, because all we heard about was Joe is older, Joe stutters, and Joe's slipping. And I made a video, one of the early videos that I did, I was talking about, one of the early ones that I did that went viral, I was talking about how that the right wing had mocked him for being there for Hunter Biden and for supporting him through his addiction and telling him it was all going to be okay. When I heard those audio recordings of him telling Hunter, "You got this. You can beat this. You're going to get better. You're going to get well. I love you and I'm here for you." When I heard that, I heard a loving father. And I also put myself in Hunter's shoes because I've been in Hunter's shoes. I've been there in that dark spot. And when I was in that dark spot, I wasn't allowed to have phone calls. And so I'd have gave anything to hear my dad's voice. And when I heard that, I was solidly behind Joe Biden because I realized what a good man we had in there. And sometimes that's more important than who can be the most flashiest politician. We live in a world where it's all about flash, it's all about entertainment, it's all about shock and awe. And Joe Biden does not fit into that mold. He's not a guy that's going to be good in that department because he's not a flexer. He's not Hulk Hogan. He doesn't go out there and spend, 5 minutes working and 20 minutes posing. That's not who he is as a man. He's someone who goes in there and rolls up his sleeves and goes to work quietly. And he's someone who always does so with respect and with dignity and with grace. And I just feel like that's the kind of guy that I would want my sons to look up to. That's the kind of man that we needed at that particular time. And there's a lot of people that are, right now there's a lot of Democrats that are trying to figure out what do we do next. And it's like, well, okay, maybe it's time we just throw Joe Biden under the bus. And to them, I would say, fuck you. And then I would go on to say, you know what? Joe Biden was old. Joe Biden did stutter, and Joe Biden was not the man that debated Paul Ryan. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't as quick on the draw as he used to be, but he was in there getting things done. And instead of sitting back and just going along with all the bro podcasters in the world that was trying to run him down, Democrats could have been out there saying, hey, we've really accomplished some shit. I mean, look at what Donald Trump does now. He goes out there and just shits all over the Constitution, all over every court, all over every rule, all over every system we ever had put in place. And he's got people who will go out there and they will sell that to the American public like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We have seen people get on TV and make total fools out of themselves talking about what a wonderful 100 days it's been. It's been the greatest 100 days in American history. And we're all sitting over here going, look, we're not that delusional. We know better. But he's got people that will sell that. And meanwhile, Democrats sit back and try to figure out, well, how can we save our own ass in the midterms and how can we save our own ass later on? So instead of focusing on the good that Joe Biden done and letting the American people know that, hey, the good things he done is going to make your life better, instead of doing that, they just went right along with the whole thing. And the mainstream media spent all of their time just demonizing and vilifying this guy every step of the way. I lost two men that I truly loved and admired. They would be on the Mount Rushmore of men who raised me. I lost two of them to dementia. I watched it take them down. And I sat back and watched people who claim to be Christians just ruthlessly mock a dude constantly for that. Now, Joe Biden probably never saw half the comments that we seen. But I saw those comments and I realized what people truly thought of dementia patients. And then when Hunter Biden was, when the tapes came out of him talking with Hunter Biden about addiction, they mocked and they vilified Hunter for being, for having his problems, and they vilified Biden for being a good father. They sat and mocked everything that the guy ever did, and now they want to throw up their thoughts and prayers. Well, you can shove them up your ass, and I don't care who judges me for saying that. I don't want to be in your thoughts. I don't want to be walking around in your mind if you think that what's going on right now is a good thing and you're willing to give a pass to the worst human being that ever came along and meanwhile vilify a good man. And I don't want you throwing up any prayer on my behalf to what's ever on the other side of this. I do not want you to say a word on my behalf. I'll face that when I get there. And if there's such a thing, I'll give an account for every word I ever said. And I'll die on that hill. But to all these people now, oh, look, they're it's ridiculous. And I'm not even going to go into the ridiculous conspiracy theories that people like Don Jr. are already cooking up. And that's probably what you're going to see a whole lot of, is you're going to see people who are going to cook up a bunch of bullshit conspiracy theories and sit there and speculate as to this and to that. And all I'm going to do is remind everybody that Joe Biden was a great leader. He was a great president. He was a really good man, a decent, honest man at a time when the world needed him. And I would take him right now. I would take him right now over what we got. I would absolutely do that. I've said many times, I'll just be honest, and this is going to be hard for me to say, but he reminds me a lot of my own father. And he reminds me of the things that me and my father went through together. And so he's always, in my mind, he's always going to be a good man. And I'm going to look at this world and say, we had a good man that brought us back from one of the darkest times in American history. And we had people demonizing and vilifying him and kicking against him every step of the way. My grandfather used to say, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Man, they ripped that hand off and threw it away at a time in American history, and they exposed themselves for what they were. And so I was watching. I was paying attention. I was listening. And no, I don't want to be in their thoughts and prayers. I don't. And it's not impressive to me now for the people saying, look, they're respectful. I've always been of the nature, we'll see where this goes. We'll see how long those few tweets last. But to Joe Biden, I doubt he would ever hear this video, but I would just say thank you. Thank you for being a leader your entire life. Thank you for the service that you did to our country. We're all truly grateful for you. There's people out there that are truly grateful. There's people out there who will always hold you in the highest regard. And to anyone else, they don't matter. They really don't at the end of the day. So, you know, I will be sitting over here, me and my family, and we will be pulling for the Biden family, just like we always have. And we'll keep sitting down here in this chair and putting in the work. We'll keep going to bat, and people can, you know, split up into camps and figure out which way they want to go. But thank you, Joe Biden, for everything. And I know that you will face this like the man that you are, and you will always have my respect.